y'all. Welcome back to Tater Talk. I'm Rachel.
And I'm Haley.
And today we're super excited to talk with Benjamin Barrow or Ben. I forget which one we actually ended up calling him.
I think Ben,
I
but
think
yeah.
Ben. Either way, you can call him either way. But we're really diving into food innovation, and he is one of our food scientists. He's also multilingual, which is really freaking cool. He just has a lot of fun facts about him, honestly.
He does. That's so true.
But he's really passionate about sensory evaluation and product development, and his journey spans from microbiology research to scaling up cutting-edge food products.
Yeah, there's a lot to Ben. So,
Yep.
And even more. So he's currently an associate sensory scientist here at Lamb Weston. And he's made his mark at other companies where he's led R&D in multiple different areas. So, but his talents really don't stop there. He's also kind of a savvy marketer. He built up a social media following for an outdoor brand. So, we might have to tap into him a little bit more than we think.
Yep. He did get his degree. He's not just all like in his own head. He went to school for food science and technology at BYU. And so to get to his languages, he speaks English, Marshallese, and Korean. I believe he said he also used to live in Korea.
I think so.
If I'm making that up, sorry, no one fact checked us. But he really brings a unique blend of technical expertise and cultural insight and just entrepreneurial spirit, and he's just fun.
Yeah, I would say we just had a total blast.
Yeah.
So I hope that comes through. And so get ready for this awesome conversation with Ben as we dive into all things food sensory science at Lamb Weston.
Yep. Awesome. Well, thank you, Ben, for being here today. We're so excited to talk about all things food science, food sensory. I feel like when people talk about like, oh, I have a dream job, I feel like they think that it is your job.
Yeah.
So we might just find out today if that is true, holds true, once we really find out what all happens in food science and food sensory.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's a good kind of question, though. Do you feel like you kind of have your dream job? Like, do you get to do what you love?
Honestly, like with any job, there's things that I love and don't love about it. But for the most part, I would say this is my dream job.
Yeah.
I mean, so can you help explain like what food science, food sensories, all of the above, what it is and the importance behind it?
Absolutely. So food science, I mean, it's a very broad definition that I'm going to give you, but it's the science of food. So
it's a very broad.
Yeah.
The Webster's Dictionary.
Literally. So there's like, I like to think of it as when I'm sorry, I'm getting mixed up here.
We're good.
When I was in school, people would assume that because I was studying food science, that meant either chef or dietitian. I'm neither one of those.
Okay.
Where it's like chef is like bringing stuff from the table to the mouth.
Yeah.
Or maybe that's dietitian. I'm not really sure. Like I said, I'm not one of those.
You're like, that's not my area.
Exactly. But a food scientist is bringing it from ideation to the table, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
So somebody comes up with an idea for a food product, and food scientists help make it happen.
Mm-hmm.
So is it a little bit more of like the production of how it comes together, or like the elements of the food? That might feel like an elementary question.
All of the above, really.
Okay.
I mean, that's not an elementary question. Don't worry. It is, well, I mean, for our products, for example, the marketing team works with us to come up with an idea, and then our product developers see what we can do and put all of our brains together and make some great potato products out of it.
So a follow-up question on that too. The science elements of it, is it how kind of like the food developers, they're putting together the actual product? So is y'all's, is it science? Like I'm going back to, grade school science, like the formulation of how everything comes together, and then they're the ones that like physically put it together?
That's part of it.
Okay.
I mean, all of us need to have an understanding of the basic chemistry of food and just kind of understanding how is this ingredient going to affect the texture or the consistency or how it'll cook up, the
how
color.
makes it crispy,
Exactly.
all that. Okay.
All of it.
That helps. Thank you.
Yeah. How the batter reacts with oil, all those different kinds of things.
Exactly.
Okay, cool.
Exactly.
That's a good way to think of it. I have an immediate Haley question.
Okay.
Which is,
I know.
Yeah.
That's what. Let me explain.
I was just gonna roll with it.
Yeah, no, and there's another famous podcast that says something similar, but you just ask smart people maybe not so smart questions. But I feel like maybe this isn't like an unintelligent question. It's just a curiosity. Other than fries, because of course we know you love fries. If there was a dream food product that you could have worked on from a food science or food sensory perspective, what would that have been?
Oh, well, I am a huge fan of fruit. So if I
okay.
could do some sort of development for I don't know, I don't want to say GMOs, but
Yeah.
like making fruit just better
Uh-huh.
overall, like a better texture, a better flavor. So I grew up for a little bit in Korea,
Oh my gosh, that's
and
cool.
the strawberries there are way different than the strawberries in
I've
America.
heard.
Amazing.
It's
Very viral on TikTok right now.
Exactly.
Marketing.
I'm like, yes, that's my research.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so it's like the why behind that.
Exactly.
Okay.
I think that would be my dream. Another more local dream. I am a big beverage guy. I love anything to do with like drinks. So I would work in the beverage industry, I think.
Yeah.
But for right now, I love potatoes. I love working on fries.
Yeah.
It's a good time.
Yeah.
Love that.
There's so much you can do with it, which I think a lot of people didn't realize until here we are.
Absolutely. I mean, I didn't really know all what you could do when I was in school. So
Yeah.
just being in the industry, I'm learning so much.
It's so cool. Awesome. Well, maybe kind of a segue, but how does sensory science influence the development of our new food products then?
So every time that we have a product get to a certain point, so it's like we go from ideation all the way to, is this going to make it to a launch? Our product developers give the product to me to put on our sensory panel. And that's
Okay.
a group of about 10 to 12 trained panelists where they go through all the attributes of a product. So that includes the flavor and the texture, the aromas, the visuals, everything that you can really think of. And it's when we talk about a crispy fry, we really pride ourselves on crispiness here. And we love it. But that part of that is because of our panelists. We dive into every single nitpicky thing about crispiness.
Okay.
It's like, what's the mouthfeel? What is the oil residue left in your mouth when you take a bite of this? What's the level of sound that you hear when you bite into a crispy product? All of those things.
Yeah.
So, and is the sensory panel, is it the same people every time, or is it a different pool of people that we pull from?
So for this sensory panel that I'm referencing, yes, it is the same people every
Okay.
time. And then we also work with external panelists or consumers just to really make sure that we get a broad range of data
Yeah.
for our products so that we
Yeah.
can create the best products
Yeah.
on the market.
Makes sense.
That's nice too, because it's like with having the same people, they can help really compare and contrast of like from the last product, this one is truly crispier, has better mouthfeel, or a little bit more mashed potato texture, or what have you.
Absolutely.
So it's not just randomly throwing it out there. They have a good barometer or control group.
And with that, I know certain panelists are like sensitive to certain flavors or certain off odors or different aromas or different aspects of the crispiness. And so I know it's like, okay, if they notice this, maybe this other person might not notice it.
Yeah.
And I guess that too, is that really the source of helping understand like customer preferences? Do we get different, I guess, how do I say this? Like if there are different preferences or desires from different customers, let's say like larger chains, is that noted for the panel? Like, are you getting more, I don't know, crispiness or this type of texture based off of that? Like, do we feed that into them?
That's a great question. This panel is not for preference. This is just
Okay.
for descriptive analysis. So
okay.
putting a number to a certain quality, and that will help us know where to go from there.
Okay.
Our consumer data comes from external panels, or we call them CLTs. It's central location tests, where we get groups of random people to try our products and tell us all about it.
Oh, cool. So that is where it's like more of a blank
Yeah.
sensory
Exactly.
tasting of sorts.
They just
Exactly.
respond to it without, or do you have like, I mean, I know you said prescriptive before, but do you have questions for them, or is it more just like, tell us what you think, broad
Yeah,
brush?
so we always have a ballot where it's just like, okay, like how would you rank this in terms of this?
Yeah,
Or tell us about this specific flavor note or this specific aroma that you smell or how it looks. And then of course that's just like a broad
Yeah.
Right.
range.
And then you
Questions.
take that and like potentially make tweaks to the product from there. Okay.
Yeah. And basically what I do in the sensory department is take that data and interpret it for the product developers and also for hopefully a little bit for the marketing team
Yeah.
so that everybody just understands what the consumers are saying or seeing with the product.
Awesome.
Say thank you for doing that.
Yeah.
My pleasure.
It makes our lives a lot easier.
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome. So then I know we talk about this in probably every podcast episode. Technology advances so quickly on so many different scales across our company, but how has it impacted the way we look at food science and sensory science here?
That's an awesome question. I think, I mean, technology and how it advances helps every field.
Yeah.
With sensory, well, the first thing just like off the top of my head is one thing that we do for a lot of our customers. We do, we use an infrared camera to help just understand how different products hold heat the best. And we know that when a product holds its heat, it's going to be just a better consumer experience.
Yeah.
Because nobody likes cold and soggy fries. I mean, I don't want to speak for both of you guys.
Yeah.
I was saying, like, there's maybe a rogue person out there in the world.
There's got
Probably.
to be someone,
Yeah.
but not here.
Absolutely.
Yeah, large above and beyond. Yeah,
Yeah.
most people don't.
Yeah.
It's true. Is there anything else? I mean, we saw. I think I've seen the infrared though on like cameras or
Yeah, like
some
the heat
photography.
mapping.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's developments in texture analysis as well. There's
Oh.
we don't have any here, but there is like there are different machines that replicate the human experience with smells and with taste buds.
Wow.
Mhm.
And I'm not going to dive like completely into that
Yeah.
because it's very technical, but that's okay. And I would love it if we did get some of those tools because that would be a lot of fun to
Yeah.
play
Yeah.
with.
To get a good plug for that.
No
I-
kidding.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I've seen that. I just think it's so funny. When last time we were here,
Mhm.
I know another one of our one of your coworkers were working on something, and it's like they had little clamps on some fries, and they were doing heat map. I'm like, gosh, this is such like it feels like so Frankenstein of sorts because you're just like, okay, you would never
Absolutely.
know that so much technology and science. I mean, we've said this a
Yep.
thousand times. We didn't know that when we talked to so many people from the plant and the farms, and now getting into the innovation space, we're like, who knew how much science went into the product development of it? Like it seems
Absolutely.
obvious, but you just don't really know
Yeah.
until you get into the nitty gritty.
Well, I think like at least in my perception of it, with the product development side of things, it feels like a fun science experiment a little bit, where
Yeah.
it's just like, okay, how can I be very creative and make something that I think is going to taste great?
Mhm.
But then we take that and then we have to scale it up, and that takes a lot of science and engineering and
Yeah.
all of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To that point, like you have to make this for the masses.
Exactly.
It's true.
Also with technology, I think advances in packaging really
Oh.
influence the sensory side of things. I mean,
Yeah.
the better packaging we have, the better quality our products are going to be. Like they're going to stay good for longer,
Mm-hmm.
and they're going to just be the best.
Yeah. It's true.
It's a great plug. We're talking to Michael later. So.
Yeah. And say
Amazing.
he's gonna appreciate that
Yeah,
one for
exactly.
sure.
We'll let him know that you gave him that
Yeah,
compliment.
I hope so.
Then there was, I mean, I did this probably last year, maybe 2 years ago now at this rate. The sensory boxes with not fries, but other foods that help us understand what your job means in like a really, could you kind of give an example of a food that's maybe adjacent or helps us understand what you do with fries every day?
Right. Yeah. So with those sensory, that's a great segue into actually what I do. Yeah.
Oh, perfect.
Those sensory boxes help us gauge at what level the fries are going to be at.
Mhm.
So we know that. So okay, for those boxes, I don't know if you remember any of the stuff that
A little
was in
like
there.
some, they were like Laffy Taffy or something.
Yeah, there was
Yeah.
like the veggie straws and like a cheese stick and a beef stick
Yes.
for like
Exactly.
hardness.
Mhm.
or-
Yeah. So we had an airhead in there where it's just like you have to
That's
rub it
what
on
it
your
was.
lips. It seems a little bit weird, but when you bite into a fry or a hash brown or any of our other potato products, you feel some of it on your lips, even though the general consumer is not going to be just rubbing fries on their lips. I don't want to speak for everybody.
Again, maybe.
but, like you never know.
Yeah. Look at the camera.
Yeah.
I love it. That's awesome. You never, yeah, okay.
Exactly.
No judgment.
I promise, this is a judge-free zone.
Yes.
But yeah, so like even like the goldfish that we put in there,
Right.
there's
Yep.
like the puffed goldfish that doesn't have any smile on it, or there's the one goldfish that does have a smile on it that's not puffed.
Oh.
That creates a different experience in terms of volume of sound and crispiness
Wow.
and just hardness when you bite through it.
Right.
And so we know that based off of our scale of traits our numerical scale, these everyday food items, they fall into that scale. And based off of tons of studies that we've done, the ideal spot is somewhere in that scale for different attributes. So we know that when we bite into a fry, we don't want it to be as crispy as a veggie straw because that might be a little bit too hard or a little bit too crispy.
Right.
But we know that we want it to be crispier than a block of cheese or harder to bite through than a block of cheese because that would be too soft.
Yep. That's when you get like the soggy.
Yeah.
all that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We find
Exactly.
the Goldilocks of French fries.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's part of what I do is making sure that our fries, our products stay within the golden range.
Awesome.
Wow.
Those sensory kits were so foundational, I think, for me
Yeah.
to understand like the true attributes. Like we list them off all the time of the attributes, especially in marketing, where like
Totally.
it hits a crispiness and mouthfeel and all these things, or like color, but when you actually get into like
Right.
the realness of it, you're like, oh, okay, I have a comparison now. I think that's the biggest thing is like
Exactly.
having a comparison
Yeah.
on that meter is super helpful.
Well, and sometimes it's easy to think you compare a fry to a fry, maybe in terms of crispiness, but to understand what crispiness really means, I think it's nice to take it out of the fry context sometimes. So,
Yeah.
no, it was just a really cool, like we talked about earlier, kind of a general public way of looking at food sensory versus the technical or more, scientific way, if you will.
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah.
We appreciate the translation.
Is there anything about like food science or like food sensory or anything like that that you're like, this is what people should know? Or about like your job or what you do at Lamb Weston? Is there anything that you're like, gosh, really, I wish people knew more about this?
Yeah.
This. Okay. I think that, well, kind of what you were saying about the translation of it, I wish that more people understood how easy it is to translate, like what actually goes into a crispy product. We see it in everyday things that we bite into. It's like sometimes it could be like a crispy rice for sushi, or it could be a goldfish cracker or anything like that. We are subconsciously thinking about crispiness, but we don't actually notice it until it's placed in front of us or somebody translates it for us. And yeah, I think it truly is easy to just understand how things are crispy.
Yeah.
I don't know. I wish that maybe I should say that in a better way.
Hey, crispy, tasty. I don't know.
Well, I think that's your
Yeah.
point. It's like, because then I know we've had that conversation before when we were launching Crispy campaign, is that it's like, okay, people talk about an apple. Some people say it's a crispy. Some people say it's crunchy. So it's like those different words can be so unanimously used, but we are using them. Like we might have different vocabulary, but we are getting it in different ways.
Right, exactly.
And so again, I think it just is having those comparisons for the people that aren't so close to the science of it all is helpful. But it's nice to have you all. I know we tap into you and Scott a lot to say like, okay, help us break this down. Like put this in layman's terms for us to understand like what this really means for so many people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I also think that, well, something that I didn't really even consider before coming to Lamb is how much we work with the marketing team. Like, you guys take our sensory data and turn it into something amazing to sell products every day.
Yeah. Stop.
Like, because I'm like, truly, I'm giving you just like some rough numbers, and I'm like, here's what I think the next step should be. And you guys just run a marathon with it. It's great.
Amazing.
If you haven't seen the crispy meters on our website, go look.
That's me.
I say we do. We use them everywhere.
Yeah.
It's true.
We really do. It's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, as far as general food science, I wish everyone knew. I think that I wish that it wasn't something that people get scared of. I mean, of course, there's studies done every day. There's changes to the industry done every day and changes to science done every day. But I think in general, people shouldn't be afraid of our ingredients. People shouldn't be scared of maybe not knowing exactly what's in a product or not being afraid to look it up or ask what it is.
Yeah. And we have experts. Not that we want your inbox to be
Well,
bombarded, but
I mean, feel free. I love answering an email.
hey, there you go then.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh goodness.
we could probably do a whole episode on just ingredients, I'm sure.
I
But
know, yeah. And I mean, we're always changing ingredient suppliers or changing different like things that alter the color to our ingredients or the flavor. I think truly none of our ingredients should be something that we're scared to talk about. Because I don't know, everybody has questions about the food industry.
Yeah.
And food scientists are in general just eager and excited to answer them.
I think that's good to call out too.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we are so thankful that we get to have you on, well, for some of us, speed dial, for for others, and just an email
Absolutely.
away. So thank you for all the work that you do to help us make these awesome products all the time.
Of course, it's my dream job, like I said.
Love it. Well, thank you for chatting with us.
Yeah, thank you.
Let's say this is fun.
Thanks y'all for watching, and I hope you enjoyed our conversation with Ben. I don't think he disappointed. I don't think we oversold him in the intro.
Not
He
at
just is an absolute blast. We talked to him for like an hour before and maybe an hour and a half afterwards.
Yeah, no, we could not get enough of Ben. So I also just loved that he could step out of the fry zone and talk about how he would really love to work on beverages or other things like that. So I don't know. He's just a fun, cool guy. If you ever have a chance, chat him up.
Yep.
But as always, thanks for watching, and we will see you next time on Tater Talk.
Bye.